Good morning, traders. So welcome back from the holidays. This is JTrader, so your mentor for stocks. Every Wednesday over here at Bookmap YouTube channel. Good morning, everybody. So let's start right away because we're still trading the market. We are trading this morning several small caps, ABVC, SASI, FWBI, Nexi. And then on big caps, we are on Tesla, Nvidia, SPY, Qs, ES, and NQ. A lot to do over here. So let's right away join the YouTube session. Good morning, Paul. Again, traders, when you join the room, you're free to ask questions. We can review things together, but this is going to be more a trading session together. So we are right now, you can see over here what my team did this morning. We are short on Tesla. We'll cover what we did over here. Good morning, Florian. Morning, Cesar. We're gonna start with big caps. So I was screen sharing Bookmap with the room. And we're gonna put over here a few things. So the first thing over here, we had plan to long and short Tesla. Short was the A+ setup because it's trend following. We shared in a Zoom session the entire process, plan, executing on Tesla. And you can see over here what our team results. So we were screen sharing with Bookmap in the room, and as you know, I like to trade big caps, futures, and also small caps. But today we had Bookmap on Tesla up. Generally, Tesla is one of the most volatile stocks, and that is the reason why we have always Bookmap in our watch list. So what I like is that Tesla was in the low 20% trading range of the previous day, and that gave me enough confidence to start looking for a short. We started then watching over here Bookmap how it opened, and as you can see, I traced this rectangle. Why? So when it opens at 245, imagine that at 9:30 everybody wants to buy and sell. You have also institutionals, we have also traders who leave I would say limit orders to buy or sell at the gate. So right away there's a ton of volume coming out. And I suggest beginners not to trade the first 5 to 10 minutes. Of course, when you're skilled, when you're like more experienced, you can trade also the open, as it will give you so many great setups. At the open, we waited a little bit, and we saw this unwinding from 245 till 243.70. And once we saw this pattern, as you know, is one of the usual pattern that we look for in the room. This is the V pattern. We decided to take the long over here. You can see that we have the reclaim of the open level. We have bars in control. Look how many bars over here step in. And then before we took the trade, I said exactly in this moment over here, take the long 245. Let me bring this up so you can see over here at 9:30. So this is 3:30 Italian time, 9:30 New York time. Full size long. We took the long at 245 and 10, 245 and 15, risking 245, and then a few minutes later you will see how we instead shorted. And I was guiding over here some traders step by step. So we get then long over here, We saw this 245 holding. We stood in. We are 60-70 cents in the money, and we were waiting this to push all the way up. But instead, I start looking. You can see over here what happens from short to long, and then from long over here to the support. At this point, we have two possible scenarios. One, bounces and you have a push. The second one, that it curls down and we have a fail. What happened? We had a fail over here. So exactly this point, I said reverse to short, as the system that actually is a trading system. You can see here that the system gave us the short entry, which is that square, and it also told us that it's a short setup. That's a short setup. So we flipped short immediately once we failed this support level. And then we wanted to see that this support level became a resistance, and you can see over here we fail, and then we start rejecting. This is still 9:32. So in about 2 minutes, okay, our long, short, and then still you will see how the market can change. So look over here. Good morning, Dream. After we'll also cover what we did on the S&Q. But this is a setup that I would like that you track, because it can open and have this. So you stay simply long from here. But of course, if reverses instead, you start looking to short on a lower high, or if you're pretty good, that you have a very tight risk and you're pretty disciplined, then I suggest you to enter long of a short over here. And that's what we did. We went long, flipped short. This is a reversal. And then we start seeing over here on this breakdown, look at the major amount of sellers, right? They focused over here on this pullback. We start seeing the majority of the amount of sellers, and there was no over here possibility for longs to reclaim the 245. I didn't see any buyers. Instead, sellers were really aggressive. And then I zoom out, and all of this that I'm telling you, I record, okay? We had this major level of demand, this major level of demand, and then 240. So that's the reason why when we get around 243, we decided to scale out the partial. And then we scale out more over here, 241. So once we got to this level down here, 241's this level. Okay, so these are the levels where we scaled out. And over here you can see all of these, they form a major demand zone. This is a wall of buyers. But again, it doesn't mean that if you find this, the market will bounce. In the short term, in the very short term, you will have a bounce, because the stock needs really to breathe. Even short sellers, they won't be selling without any kind of pullback. So they have been absorbed over here, and they push back to this 242 and 60. And then they start fading again. This is still 938. And I put over here this another rectangle, because I wanted to share with you how over here we got to this level. You can see that we have a little bit more buyers, right? We shifted from all sellers over here to buyers, making higher lows. But again, I don't care about all these fluctuations, all these waves. I want to look only over here at the key levels where we can retrade. For me, the pullback was not enough. We were looking at 243 to re-add. We didn't have that, so no re-add. We took one full-size position. And in this case, the trader here at the Academy, they were looking at this trading range. And I started saying, traders, if we have a reclaim of 243, we're getting out. So if happens this over here, we're getting out over here. If instead we break this trading range, so we are looking at this trading range, the price was fluctuating between support and resistance. Then I said, okay, then start looking for more unwind. And at this 240s, you can see the huge demand zone over here where we have a lot of buyers ready. We start to get out another partial, okay? So the point is pay yourself, because you never know how much this stock will unwind or how much this sticker will unwind. This is a classic setup that it will give you between at least 4 to 5 hour return, okay? I don't really care that you take the, I would say the top tick. You don't need to take the top tick short, but take the major part of the move. Enter when you have a confirmation, enter when it's risk-free, and then stay into the trade. So once we have this fader, look over here again. You may think it's going to bounce back up again, right? Forms over here are higher low. But then instead, my major point is not looking for higher lows. My major point is to look for always, is it making lower highs? Yes. And if you were with us while I was screen sharing this, I was pointing out traders look at the lower highs. So there are major levels of absorption where you can scale out partials. And that's the reason why we scale out, as I said before. But then look for lower highs. The continuation of lower highs will give you confidence, even over here, to hold still your position. You can see that before the screenshot over here, the team got out more into the 237s, so down here, because this is a key daily support. And then we started to bounce some over here. Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna trail everything. If we break this trend line, and we start making a higher high and higher low, okay? But until that moment, we're still holding over here, because it never is too low. This can still unwind more, so there's no really need to cover too much. The other thing that I was pointing out for some of the traders in the mentoring in the room is that when a trade is working, let it run, okay? Let it work in your favor. Don't cut it, and don't really cut your profits. Because let's assume that you have a 50% win rate and you're only making 2R, you're not gonna make it. Fees, your time, commissions, everything, your expenses. So if you have a 50% win rate, you need at least 4R or even more, okay? To, I would say, have a good income. So this was the point on Tesla. This is the team, so we short over here, as we said, around 245. Took over here to 237. And the same yesterday, so we had 2 days in a row, the same exact process. And again, over here, the system tells us simply what to do. Over, under, and we look for short. Boom, automatically. So you don't need really to think. Just very fast. On NQ, sorry. On NQ this morning we had several patterns. So we discussed this in the room before. We have a future trading room. We had some shorts over here. And then the last short that we called this morning was the 620. So we got this level over here after the data. So mainly short. We had this long over here 930, and then from this moment over here only shorts. So what I like about NQ that now is pretty weak, so we have a potential over here unwind. You can see our sell zone over here, so we're actually below, and the levels that I'll be looking to unwind is the 16,500, then 16,400. Okay. If you have any questions, traders, please reach out. Same thing on yes. So the system, you can see those dots red. The system gave us those entries exactly all over here. And that is what we're gonna forward under a small subscription to the new traders coming out in the room. So you can see the entry here and entry over here. Okay, so definitely short side position this morning. We had also Nvidia. Plan over here this morning was to look for a long play. And this is the V pattern, the V pattern that we said this morning that happened also in Tesla, right? So you can see that we have this fail. Again, we have a wall of buyers over here at the 473, exactly this low. And remember, we have a support over here for the pre-market. And then once we have this dip, you can start seeing over here that it's making higher lows. It fails over here to push, and then we have another dip. But this is still like a V pattern. If we zoom out over here, we can see the V pattern. Then it makes a new low, okay? New relative low over here, and then start breaking up and really pushing. Once we reclaim the open level, then it's target over here. You can see that we get exactly to that level. The setup over here was explained in pre-market. So we were looking or for a breakdown of 472 and 50. And I remember I was talking about this with the traders in the room. I was saying, listen, traders, we need to see the breakdown of this 472 and 50. And a trader told me, why 472 and 50? And I said, because that is the pre-market low, and then I want to see some rejections. The second setup is we have instead a dip into that pre-market low, and then we have a push. Again, all of this we discussed for about 30 minutes, maybe sometimes even more, of the entire plan. You can see over here, I was talking and Diana asked me, Jay, why 472? Because I want to give it just a little bit more wiggle room below that pre-market low. And I said over here, look for potential long play on a fake breakdown, and that's what we had. I mean, plan is important. More important is execution and how you respect your plan. We don't have always wins. I'm not sharing always wins, but that's what the system is giving us. I'm trading a systematic trading system, so the system tells me how and what to trade based on the inputs, on the setup that I gave him. Thanks to some traders, we put all this together, and the system is working 70 or even 80% of the times. So it's really money-making strategy, and you can just come in, check a couple of weeks, and you see yourself. That's the reason why traders who are with us, they're normally like for many months and years. Small caps are a tough beast, but what small caps are giving us are many long and short plays. First of all, I would like to cover this morning with everybody over here, and if you traded this, please reach out, because I would like really to share also that you give me your opinion. Yesterday, in just to show you the similarity of these long plays, all right? So yesterday we had this setup long on ABVC, LBPH, okay? And the use of Bookmap was simply incredible. This is yesterday morning, LBPH, we long at 1340. I called the setup so traders know what setup we were playing. In the room, I screen share Bookmap because Bookmap has that extra confirmation that I need in order to take the trade. Over here, I had a mentor student by me. So the trader took the long with our alert. So 1340, right? And you can see over here, we're holding that play on LBPH 1340. And then this is what happened. Yes, this is the long we took. We sold over here into the 19s. Then we were long over here into the 17s. And then we simply sold. This is 22, 24, and this morning the remaining at 20, 23 and 50s, 23 and 80s. So how this is possible? Look over here what I wrote. We have a base support, and I'm explaining you this because you're gonna see the same today. So we have a base support, and this base support was with very low volume, but they were like refilling on Bookmap, so I saw a lot of sellers and then buyers. But this is what instead gave me that extra confirmation to learn this for the entire room. This long tie consolidation that happens between 10:30 and 11:30, you can see over here, and it starts making lower highs, lower lows, and at this point we start basing over here. That base was a key level on Bookmap, so we will see this morning on Nexi this key level of Bookmap. Of course, a lot of our traders were short, so when they see this, we start taking profits and we get out. On the other hand, this trader instead that I'm sharing over here was only long bias, so we're trading both long and short. He's trading over here long, exactly on that break, putting the stop below, selling partial over here, and then over here, and then as I said, 24 and 23.7 days. So the base support, base support on chart and also with Bookmap. We had the J lines, and we had higher lows, and then only when the trader starts to work, we have increase of volume. Now, let's look what happened this morning. And I can tell you that we started the idea over here to short, and the first setup that we had this morning was a short. So I'm gonna put over here up Nexi. By the way, anybody traded this? Good morning, Steven. Okay, I'm reading some of the DMs that you're sending me. Thank you also, traders, for putting a like. Remember, this is a free screen share. So put the like in the screen share. Really appreciate it. Smash that bid. So Stan is asking, the order book is unfilled or pending. Correct. So what you see over here on the right are all levels placed with liquidity. So let's say that you have 8,000 to share, 8,500. I will see you on a limit over here. Of course, this can be more than one participant. This is the normal easy current order book. You can have extra tools that I share in other videos, like the session range volume profile. You can have the quotes delta that I use. You can have the times and sales that I also use. But I try to keep it over here pretty simple because I know that a lot of traders see this for the first time. So let's start over here, Nexi, and how and why we traded this. So I'm gonna explain over here a few things. So let's go back. Okay, there we go. So this morning, just like yesterday, LBPH, you can see that, and we're gonna put this on a 5 minutes so that we can see a little bit more the zooming out. So you can see that green line, okay? So imagine that you don't see anything else. You only see that green line. And over here, where I wrote this 90 MA curl, the system gave us a long. I missed it this morning, so I was not able to trade this because we were in Q and ES and we were shorting that time. But we had a long over here, 755 from the system. And you can see that as soon, there we go, as soon as we had that crack at 802, so at this point over here, we had a cup volume coming in. You see the volume over here rising, and it started to make always higher lows and higher highs. And this was a runner. If you miss that first long, it's going to be pretty hard to jump on this wagon. You can look at the 1 minute chart. If you have, for example, dips, bull flags. I like very much to trade bull flags, for example, but you also have to know what is going to be your risk. So if I want to find a bull flag, I'm definitely going to use over here Bookmap and the chart. So you can see my template over here is showing over here around 810, 815, a series of lower highs, a series of consolidation. And over here, that is the bull flag. So we have a push, lower highs, lower lows, then holding over here the same low, and then a breakout. Look over here how we have buyers stepping in. I believe this is maybe an algorithm because we see too many orders really stacked at the same time and pushing. So we have this. And I tend really to analyze Bookmap pretty in depth when we're trading it. And I cannot say for sure this is an algorithm coming in, or not say these are more than one participants, but the fact that that is so much control, and we have a climax over here, volume stepping in, then we have the squeeze. So this squeeze happening over here, and you can see the volume now is really pushing. So what is the thing that you have to get from here? Don't buy simply the breakouts, because if you buy the breakout, like in this case, the market will kill you. Instead, once you see a potential breakout, wait for a pullback, and then you start taking the long. Again, I missed the entire move over here. We got it yesterday on LBPH and days before, but the long this morning, I missed it. And the system over here is telling me green zone, J lines, look too long. All right, let's go back to the 5 minutes. By the way, Nexi, if you don't know, it's a nano float with a low institutional percentage, a low insider ownership, and it's a very small market cap. It's not too important to look over here why this is up. I mean, you can read it, but a lot of times you'll see pumps, newsletters, not even important news that will move the stock. Like this morning, we had FWBI, SAS, AVVC, CETA. All of these were in our pre-market plan. And over here, when I look at Jtrade, I start looking at how it performed in the past. So the stock had 2 times a gap above 30%, just like this morning. And one time it closed red, and one time it closed green. Okay, so we had one fill, one runner. Then at the gate, 9:30, this is the moment that I really want to cover with you guys. Exactly, Stan. The COB, the second column is unchecked. I keep it in this way. You see it on put aggregate. I keep it show bid, show ask, extended. I mean, it's enough for the things that we're explaining today. And at the gate, I said, traders, are we going to look too long at the J lines, which is this green line, or are we going to look to trade a gap and extension? So where you see forecast over here, it was written gap and extension, which is a setup short that we like to play. And you can see that once we open 9:30, the price start making this dip, and it start pushing over here. It pushed one time into the 775, and then I was looking, we had liquidity 780, 790, $8. So if you look at this area, it's full of resistance. So that resistance was here. Okay, so that tells me that at this level over here, we have sellers. And that's the reason why the system interprets this, and it tells us too short. Okay, now it changed, but before it told it over here too short. And then we had a dip, and then we had a secondary push, and this gives it a confirmation. So if you zoom out especially, you will see this better. Make it very clear, okay? You can make it even like this for now. But start looking at this. We have a major seller at 8, another seller at 785, another seller at 780. You can see the price gets to this level and then rejects. And then it bounced from this level. So those are the things that you have to look with Bookmap. So try to combine Bookmap together with a strategy. And over here, we had a short exactly this point. And over here, we are waiting for unwind. I said cover 30% over here, 650, all with timestamps. And then what I said, traders, start to put your stop break even. This was the first concern because over here at this point with this replaying, we are still below the orange line. The orange line that you see on my chart is the open level. So until we are below the 10 o'clock open level, it's still a potential fader. But if we start breaking the open level and pushing, then after 10 o'clock is not anymore for me an A+ setup to short. Two things to say over here. And now we're gonna use Bookmap for this. Look at the $6 level, okay? And remember what I said before. When we are trading Tesla, remember the trade we took. We are looking for lower highs and lower lows, okay? And until this point, you can see that we're making lower highs and then also lower lows because these are our relative lows. But then we start changing over here and we start making the same low, higher high, and a new higher high. So it's not guaranteed at 10.05, which is this level over here, okay? That is gonna be a reversal because many times we see these spikes that they go near the pre-market high, which is this pink line over here. They go to the open level and they stuff and they short back again. What I'm watching over here, I'm looking at Bookmap and I'm looking at volume. I made a tweet that I would like you to read it because I explained this. Just give me 1 second. I wrote this yesterday, how to find the best runners in a quick guide. And you can see, for example, the trade we took on LBPH. And then I said, in this tweet, you can find more info. Go read it. I'm gonna re-upload over here the link. Go read it because it's a game changer if you're trading small caps. And look at these examples. So all these examples explain that we have a tight long consolidation. VVOS if you remember, MLGO if you remember, MINM, and also over here we have ALT. So read this and you will see. This tight long consolidation doesn't really happen only in pre-market or in the first, I would say, 30 minutes like this morning, because you can see that we had a tight long consolidation, just like LBPH yesterday, but can happen even midday or in the afternoon. Generally, it will happen between 9:45 and 11:30. That's the general, I would say, time where you have this tight long consolidation. As we said before, you're looking for lower highs and lower lows. But when the price starts making over here higher lows and higher highs, then you start reconsidering over here what can happen. So you don't start shorting against the trend, but you start looking to embrace more the longs. Of course, if you're short, like many of the traders were short exactly this point over here this morning, your only concern will be get out at this point. At this point, I said get out, maximum break even in the money. If anybody is short, you can see that the system with that black square give you the long entry exactly over here. And that entry happens together with the Bookmap. Look how beautiful this is. We have the fake breakdown of the 6, and this is a bear trap. They're collecting over here shorts. We have a previous low at 6 again, okay? So we have a fake breakdown, and then we start making higher lows. If we zoom in 1 second, and you start looking at the participants, we have the majority over here participants being green. So we have over here buyers. I was also looking at times and sales, and at that moment over here, we had a huge amount of buyers, even block order passing. And once we break this level, why we have this major candle over here? Because this is the squeeze candle. It's not only longs entering into the trade, so breakout traders, but it's also shorts that they enter, not like us over here, but shorts that enter on the crack of VWAP, they are stopping out over here. So that is the reason why you should never short weakness or buy breakouts. In this case, you buy breakout, it works, but I can tell you that if you buy the breakout, for example, over here, the open, you will have a big stop loss. And that's the squeeze just over here happening. This is the squeeze. So you can see that we had that pre-market, and then over here we have the breakout, and look over here, the volume coming in. You start looking at the volume. This is the volume over here, and then you have buyers, 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 and we start to top out in the 920s. So this area. So now, is it too short? Is it too long? The market is still holding the pre-market high. We're around 11 o'clock above the pre-market high. There's no A plus setup too long right now. Okay. Sorry, too long and too short right now. If you long, you had long where the system gives you the long entry. If you're short where we have the setup coming out and telling us this is a gap and extension. You can see that the system now behaves and changes, so it's not anymore a gap and extension, it's just an extension play. Extension play means runner. Okay, so this is how the system is all automatic, and over here is setting out the guidelines, of course, for you to read it and to understand based on the patterns that we trade. So now if we see the order flow over here, we can say that shorts are still trapped above this point. And then over here, we can say that we don't want to buy at these levels because over here, longs are probably trapped. So we have shorts trap above this level, and we have over here longs trap above this level. What we want to do is simply wait. Ideally, if we start holding over here, we have another consolidation. We will be longing this level and looking for new highs. If we fail, we're gonna look to trade short later on. Okay, I hope this makes sense, traders. Any questions? All right, let's go back to the small cap land over here. We have Nexi. CDU also over here this morning is a very good runner. So CDU over here. We're talking about 560 million market cap, 70 million float, low percent of institutional, low percentage insider ownership, history of fader on gaps above 30%, 5 times out of 7. We had, you can see over here, 71% fader. Again, we can bring up over here CDU on Bookmap. What the system gave us this morning was long over here. And you can see that it came after the open with the square. That's the long entry. And over here, we remain always green. So let's go back on CDU. Stan is asking, what time frame and support and resistance do you think are used? I would say, I hope to understand good the question, but the major level of supports and resistance, I look on higher time frame. So I'm looking at daily and hourly chart. I want to see where we have long trap and also short trap, where we have bag holders. Then of course I will use more like a 5 minutes or 1 minute for timing the trades. But I would say to spot the most important key levels, only using the hourly and daily chart. I will look also the weekly chart, monthly chart when I trade futures and big caps as well. This morning I didn't put over here CDU. We had this morning Nexi, ABBC, which was a very good fader. We had Nvidia, we had Sazi, so it gave a very good pop over here. And we had Tesla for this major unwind. The candlestick on chart are based on the actual price. If instead we want to have on Bookmap the candlestick, then you can use these, but they're always based on the actual, we say, price, okay? I don't like to keep it too much complicated, so I don't like to keep candlesticks over here. So let's see, CDU, we have a no trade zone right now. Yes, Caesar, I have Bookmap settings shared. But we can look together 1 second so I can help you out. I think that's the best thing. So let's put, for example, Nexi. You have to distinguish between small caps and big caps. There's a major difference. So when I'm looking, or futures, when I'm looking at small cap, something like a Nexi, so $9 stock, I would like you to have this. This is recorded so you can watch anytime. So I have one card in order book, show bid, show ask, and extended. I don't really to put, you see the aggregate over here, because I'm looking at the actual timing of my entry with this. The second thing I will add, I don't have it over here because I just want to make a very simple webinar today. Go over here, add one, and you go into the times and sales, and you create a times and sales. When you have a stock like a $9, $10 stock, put minimal size over here. So minimum size, and you set this to $9.99. If you see that it's very liquid, like this morning, you can set this to $4,999 so that you have only the major blocks passing. Now, honestly, when we have blocks, that will be a 20, 30, 40K plus, but already seeing at least 5,000 shares minimum, that's a good way to filter all the $100, $200, $300 shares. Sorry, 100, 200, 200 shares. So minimum, I would put 5,000. If we have instead a $1 stock, $2 stock with very high liquidity, we can put this number to 10,000 or even 20,000. You want to see the block orders. And the last thing I like to add, but not always, is over here, the session range volume profile. So if I create this, you will see that I have the delta. Okay, you can use this or not use it. But what is good that you will have on your chart, this yellow line, which is the show point of control. So the level where we traded the majority of the volume, which in this case, the 725. Okay, so you can see over here that it changes and moves, of course, based on the volume that was actually traded. And then when we go over here into the volume dots, I like to keep its size to almost half, transparency half, clustering smart. I don't like really time or changing that. I just like to keep it smart. Volume bar is okay. All the rest for me is not that important. If you want, you can have VWAP. But I mean, rather than that, I have the heat map over here, basic standard ones. So vertical smoothing, averaging, auto, and that's it. Let's see another question. Stan is asking for entries. Do you check multiple time frames for confluence support and resistance levels? I find it so hard to check so many time frames all day long. Confluence, any suggestions? Yes. In one of the last podcasts, I really explained this, how I use multiple time frames all together for increasing the odds of success of that trade. Now, you have to have one chart that is the most important chart. Choose a 15 minutes, a 5 minutes, a 3 minutes, a 1 minute, whatever you prefer. That has to be like how you scan the market. And then of course, if for example, I see 5 minutes supply, and also I see a 5 minutes bearish engulfing, a 1 minute shooting star, Bookmap confirming for the short, key level, I take the trade. So the more things you put together, the more odds of success you will have. Now this has to be clear Don't add too many things that will confuse you. But you have to find a correct trading strategy. So what I do to my team is I have a manual, I have a playbook, and I simply trade everything from the playbook. This morning we had Nvidia, Tesla, ES, and NQ, FWI, Nexi, and I think was Sasi that were in our plan, and they respected the setups that is in our playbook. Okay, so to give you an idea. All right, traders, let's go back over here, and I believe Nexi will be the most interesting one. Tesla, as we said before, we're already done with that. So this morning, long and the reverse to the short side. And now we're looking at Nexi. Few things over here to understand. The system gave us another entry. Just now, you can see that we have a major level of liquidity over here into the 740 and 750. And also we have what? We have the J lines over here. So that green line over here, okay? So system giving us long entry here. And what we're waiting for this level over here of target, 860 right now. It's with 15, look.
Yeah.
Just to check. So let's analyze this together. So it's pretty simple for me because if I'm looking to short, the system will give me to short. If I'm looking to long, in this case, the line is green over here, we're pushing, it's an extension. I'm only looking to long. So I simply wait for this, I would say system to alert, to trigger. I'm looking for Bookmap to see where I have support that has confluence. Boom, I'm taking the trade. Of course, now I'm done already with my day, but that is actually what we're looking for. So let's put over here Nexi. From time to time, I will scan over here as a trade. So I will look at gappers in big caps, small caps. I'm looking also at pump and dump play. So something that is going parabolic will come up over here. By the way, for traders like John that asked the trading session of this morning, we recorded the entire session with our trading on Tesla, yes, and NQ, Nexi and all, and that will be shared on the website, okay? ABVC, thank you, Joe, for the alert. Thank you, buddy. So ABVC, you can see again the system, what it's doing over here. It's very simple. This zone is all pink, so it tells over here to short. We had a perfect gap and crap. You can see that's the entry of our gap and crap. And now in the last 10 minutes, we had the system over here changing from red to green, so giving us a long entry. And let's look on Bookmap what happened. So you can see that at this point, the system turns green. So the system tells us, okay, look for potential long. Of course, we're looking at Bookmap. If we stop making lower highs and we start making higher highs and higher lows, you can see at this point. So the trend is actually changing over here because we're not making any more lower highs or lows, but higher lows and higher highs. And then once we break the VWAP, boom, very strong volume and push the upside. Remember, these are hit and run trades because you enter for 20, 30, 40 cents, okay? And my suggestion, this for J, for OU in the room, try to have always some kind of template like mine. This template will be released with the new website, but I would say a template where you have like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tickers to follow. I know that for some of the traders that are beginners, that's too much to follow. But I don't say to trade everything. I say to observe the market. So put the tickers that you're interested into, watch them. And then of course, let's say that you have the idea today to trade only 2 stocks. Then you will focus only on those 2 stocks. And when the stock is playing, okay, now you can put the stock on a 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes in Bookmap. So using multiple time frames. So I'm trying to explain not only how Bookmap works with these webinars, but also the process that I found useful for the trading for me and really for hundreds of traders right now that I'm mentoring in the room. So on ABBC, the only level that I'll be looking to short is going to be a fake of 250 or pre-market high 270. There's no way over here I'm going to trade this short unless those key levels, because the play over here is long on ABBC. SASI, we had this major J Slim at 540 this morning, faded all the way down. Nexi, we are still holding the pre-market high level, which is this level over here. Still holding Jalen's multiple times. So this is the plan for me. And I'm looking to long over here. If instead we're gonna fail, I'm gonna ideally try to enter once we are below the pre-market high, below the open level, and then I see a lower high, okay? So I'm actually looking to short over here and long over here. That's what I'm going to do. Stellan's asking, Jay, do you know any of the trading view indicators that contains all support and time frames? So I mark it for us. I found it. It's okay. The best for me is that you trace them yourself, buddy. That's the best way to do it. I know that everybody wants, you know, the meal ready, but the best way is really that you do it yourself. Stephen, I have a paper trading small caps using small size and shares to perfect my execution, get accustomed to having my stop hit. Yes, that's fine. Okay, let's go back on Nexi. So you can see that in the last minutes over here, we had block sellers, okay? So let's see if we break the 750 and reclaim it fast, then we can look for a long play with this setup. If instead it breaks down, let it go. Don't chase it. Thank you also, traders, for the help this morning in the room. To everybody that, you know, gave alerts, explained, shared. I really appreciate this enthusiasm from the room. Thank you very much for the help. So we got over here to the 750. Remember, this is a very small float. It's a nano float. We're a small market cap. The gap right now is around 200+%, around 220s. And we're still holding at 11 o'clock the pre-market high. So what means this? No A plus setup for me. Too short, okay? Too short. For all traders also that would like to follow us, our trading lessons, you can follow us at YouTube, JTrader. Okay, so we have a lot of free content. We interviewed different 6 and 7 figure traders and 8 figure traders. Different podcasts, looking with the beta trader, with Andy, with professional traders. So reach out if you need, and this is some of our work. So again, you can see that we're holding at 750. We have Bookmap over here levels on Nexi. Is it 15?
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Cesar. Good morning, Jay. Stan is asking, is there any way to see who orders are coming from so we can learn if they are algo or market maker? No, Stan. There's no way to see if all the orders are basically retailers, institutional, or algorithms. What I can tell you is that when you have, and I shared often in these classes, there are some patterns that market makers, so algorithms, tend to do. I don't see over here none. And this morning I didn't see them, but let me see. But sometimes are very clear. So according to the majority of the traders, you cannot spot the algorithm. Instead, you can. Some you can. Not all, but some you can. And there are specific patterns that I look at and I start to recognize that they repeat over and over. So in the next lessons, if we have them, I will share, okay? Good morning, Jan. Can we see the current flow shorted at each minute? Okay, in order to do that, buddy, you will need to put over here the volume bigger, so to check the volume. And of course, we have, let's say, a float of 400K. You see the volume 400K. You see already that on that minute we have flow rotated. But only in that way. I don't know if there's a specific indicator with Bookmap where it tells you how many times like a mark on the chart. I know on TradingView there is, and I know that on Thinkorswim there is. But it's not that important. I mean, when you have an float, you know that every single bar is, let's say, 200-300K, so every 1-2 minutes is going to be a flow rotation. Unless you're looking for something different. Okay, let's go back to Nexi. 772. Let's check on Tesla over here. So you can see again what I mean by the system. We had a nice over here pattern to short. And that's the use that I like on Bookmap that gives me that confirmation. So I see over here our trend line. I start looking for a fake breakout, which is this over here. And then I start looking for the system. The system is alerting me with this to short. And you can see from the moment that the system tells me that, we have all those sellers over here jumping in. So I can enter with a very low risk, looking for this target over here. Hello, Neem. I have a question on the red black dot indicator. Is confirmation quick session. Is there a function to reduce that? Yes, buddy. Yes. The chart on our screen with 3D bubbles are only market orders, correct? No limit orders all shown on that chart, correct? So what you see on the left over here is actually what has to be executed. So the limit orders. What we see over here are all the orders executed. Okay, so you will see the price being executed over here. All right, traders, so I think we got to the end of our session. It's 11:20s. I'm gonna go back, do a little review for a few mentor traders, and then see you back next Wednesday. Again, if you have time, start studying more on YouTube. There were many different lessons we made. If you want to learn more how we trade, you can join JTrader.co, and we trade stocks, futures, and options. You will see yourself, I promise, is going to be the last trading room you will ever take, because there's all to learn from there, and we're generating a lot of profitable, consistent traders. Again, thank you very much for all your help. Goodbye, Jay. Bye, Bookmap, everybody, and see you next week. Thank you very much.